So what are some things that you should look for, and what are some things that you should avoid? The first one, again, is to verify credentials and competency, that the individual has the ability to perform what you're asking them to do. And now, credentials are not necessarily a talisman that can protect a taxpayer from unscrupulous preparers, but it's important to, if that you believe that this is a complicated or sophisticated matter, an individual has that competence or credentials. It's important to verify that type of thing. Is the tax return preparer a CPA? Are they registered with a state agency like CTEC here in California? Do they, to what extent have they done similar type of returns? And I think that's another extension of a key important thing to do in choosing a return preparer is don't be afraid to ask questions. At the end of the day, it is the taxpayer's return and it's ultimately their responsibility. So do be prepared to ask follow-up questions, push back on the important issues on the return, and verify that you are getting the answers that you are entitled to. What are some other things that tax return preparers, again, making sure that they get copies of returns. It would surprise many, but unscrupulous tax return preparers, the same ones that are likely to pull a taxpayer into bigger problems, will be less inclined to share their work. So if you encounter a return preparer that's not overly willing to give you a copy of the return, that's probably a signal that you have not selected the right type of tax return preparer. We also would suggest in the selection process, be cautious of some of these things like extraordinary, unusual, unexplainable refunds, credits, things that look uncharacteristic from your prior experience. Now, you might be selecting a new return preparer, a taxpayer might be selecting a new return preparer for the very reason that the prior one was not as diligent at finding types of deductions or credits. And that's perfectly fine, but that wild swing from something that is almost unexplainable is something to keep in mind and avoid. Another thing to avoid when selecting return preparers that might, again, signal that there's a problem here is unique or strange fee arrangements. Taxpayers should be cautious of entering engagements where the return preparer either A, is doing something on a contingency base, because that carries with it that inevitable conflict of interest in which they have a financial motivation to not just be aggressive, but to break the law. Also for you, but for themselves. Similarly, other unique fee structures like money-back guarantees. And not money-back guarantees for the accuracy of the computations, but money-back guarantees for the positions on the return being sustained. That, in substance, is a contingency fee and presents a financial motivation to the preparer to potentially break the law and get you in trouble. And then finally, one thing to do would be cautious about refunds, refund splitting, and moving money that the taxpayer is legally entitled to some type of account or other type of financial product that they don't have complete dominion or control over.